Right now we're at the toe end of the Sea Slug. The first thing we're going to want to do is put air in all of the inflatable components. We'll start at the toe here. There is an internal bladder on this end for buoyancy. As you can see, our 1-inch toe line is certified. It leads to a 1 1/4 inch pin shackle. And then there's 6 toe harness, which are as well all certified. Inside this 6-inch NPT, there's a 2-inch filler, other words called a Munson valve. Just unscrew the cap. As you get that open, you'll notice there's a check valve inside. The check valve is opened, spinning in and clockwise, and it's closed by pushing in and counterclockwise. You're going to want this in the closed position before filling. We have our 6-inch hand pump. And with our valve closed, we'll insert our adapter and start inflating. Okay, so after the inflation's complete, inside the bladder here, there's a 3 1/4 PSI relief valve. This will keep the bladder from receiving too much pressure and popping. Once you hear the relief valve, then you're going to unscrew the hand pump from the 2-inch valve, making sure that the check valve is closed still. And then we'll put the cap back on to secure that. And then cover it up with our 6-inch PVC cap. Now our toe end is prepped and ready to go. Once we have our nose cone air bladder inflated, we're going to move on to the floats. Each float consists of 6 individual inflation tubes. As the nose cone air bladder had, it has a check valve on each of these 6. Clockwise, push down, and clockwise opens. Push down, counterclockwise closes the check valves. The other end has no check valves, they're just open. So the first thing we need to do is go to the other end and secure all those caps. Now we're at the stern end of the floats. And as I mentioned before, on the stern end, there's no check valve in this end, it's just open. So we need to make sure these caps are nice and secure so the air doesn't leak out. Okay, so that's our 6 chambers. We do have another additional valve here. This isn't attached to any type of inflation. This is merely to when we pack the bag, air doesn't get trapped within this outside pocket. So this is just a bleeder valve. I'm going to go ahead and close that up too. As you can see, we have a zipper on both sides on the stern end here. This really has no function as far as inflation or anything like that. This is just to access the tubes inside in case there is future repairs or anything like that. Now we're ready to inflate. We now have the cap secured on the stern end of the floats. So we came back up here to the toe end of the floats where the check valves are, and we'll begin filling. Just like the other valves, we want to make sure that all check valves are in the closed position. And once again, to close, it's to push in and counterclockwise. That's closed. We insert our pump adapter and we begin inflating. The recommended pressure for each tube is 5 psi. However, there's no gauge on this pump. Your body weight will achieve the 5 psi. Okay, now we have our air chambers all inflated. As I mentioned before, there's no gauge on this, so we're just going by feel. Just so it's a little firm, not overinflated, not hard, and definitely not soggy. Now there is a second way we can inflate, and that's through the air manifold that we supply. As you can see, it has 6 different ports to match with the 6 different hoses. It has an air gauge here, and it has a 1/2-inch ball valve for inflation here. Now we recommend that this is used for testing. As you can see, it's a max 5 psi. On an open end, the stern end that has no check valve, you'll be able to get an accurate reading. If you use this as an inflation tool, there's check valves on this side. Therefore, the reading is not going to be correct. This is why, once again, we have to go by feel when inflating. We're just looking for firmness, not overinflated, not hard, and not soggy. So to show you how to hook this up, once again, all the valves are closed. Okay, now that we have this hooked up, your compressed air would just go onto your IM fitting. Ball valve opens, and you fill. With the check valves closed, just looking for firmness. Don't overinflate. 5 psi is a recommended use.